welcome back everyone to your SDET channel. So in the last video we saw the history of Python and we also installed Python and PyCharm on our Windows system. So today all the setup is done. So now we are ready to actually start writing our first Python program together. So imagine you have just installed PyCharm and launched it for the first time. So on your screen you will see the PyCharm GUI something like this. So before we can start typing any Python program, we first need to create a new project. How we are going to do that? So to create a project, look at the top left corner in PyCharm, click on this hamburger menu and then click on the new project. After that it will ask you for a name, so give it a meaningful name so that it looks good later when someone sees it on GitHub. For example, we can name it as self Python practice. Okay, so this kind of name looks professional and also tells the recruiter what your project is about and when you upload it on GitHub. So once your project is created, you have to click on this create button. It will create your project. You can see the path here where your project is saved on your system. So once you have created your project, you will see it on the left side in the project view here. Now right click on it on the project, click on new and then directory. So directory is nothing but it's a folder. So this will create a new folder inside your project where you can organize your files. I will name this directory as day 1 and going forward for each day we will giving it as a name for the new directory like day 1, day 2, day 3, and all the Python files will be stored inside this. Well, so here is the directory just now we have created day 1. Now that after this, right click on this new directory, click on new, go to Python file. There are two ways to create a Python file. Either you can click on file and name it as test.py. So it is very important, Python files always use the extension .py. So when you give a name like test.py, PyCharm will understand it as a Python file. Okay, so once you click on enter, you can see the Python logo here. It has created a Python file. Another way is, let me delete this. Another way is click on new, simply click on Python file. You don't need to give a file extension, just type the name of the file. So here we are going to give the name of our first program as test program. Okay, so now we are ready to write our first code. So in Python, to display something as output on the console is nothing but when okay guys, let me clear one thing. Once you have written anything on any code in this file, to run it you can click on this run button or else right click on this and simply click on this run test program. There is another shortcut, Control Shift plus F10. So I will be using this run button here to run our programs, Python files. Now let's say our first program will be print hello world. This is my first Python program. Now, so as soon as you run this program, you can see your program is run successfully and you got the output in the console. This is console. you got the output here as hello world. This is my first program, first Python program. Okay, now now you have seen, right, how to write and run a simple program. So let us move to our first topic, which is comments. Well, what is actually a comment in Python? So comment is nothing but these are the lines we write in our code only for humans to read, not for Python to execute. So these are used to write descriptions about the logic of the application. So when you or someone else read the code later, it becomes easy to understand what the code is doing. So comments are used to explain the logic of the code. The main purpose of a comment is to make code maintenance easy, and comments are non-executable code. Python completely ignores comments when the program runs. Now, so anything you write as a comment will not affect the output of your program. Remember this. So let us see some of the examples. So what we are going to do is we will create another Python file. We'll name it as comments. Now, so there are two type of comment. One is single line, one is multi-line. Single line comment, suppose you want to write a note in your code. Let's say, let me copy the first program only. Now, I want to let the user understand that this is my first Python program. So what I will be doing, I will add a comment. This is my first test program. Now if you run this, what will happen? You will get some error. The error is invalid syntax found here. Why? Because PyCharm is considering this also as your code. Now we were learning about single line comment, right? So to let the PyCharm know that this is a comment that we are adding for this line, what we are going to do is we'll simply add hash here before that. This is a single line comment. Now if you run, as our this point says, these are non-executable code, so it will not get executed. Python will completely ignore the comments when the program will run. So as soon as you run this, it will ignore the comment and it will run the only the print statement here, right? So this was single line statement, single line comment. Now coming to the multi-line comments. Now imagine you want to write some information in multiple lines. Let's say you want to document this Python file. Let's say you want to give your name. Okay, you want to specify your designation here. Sorry. Next, suppose you are writing this, you are creating a test scripts for a application which is a e-commerce application. This is basically a documentation. Okay, now you want to tell Python that these are the comments. What you are going to do? One second, let me put it here below. Now you want all these 3 lines to be commented out from your file, from your program. There are 2 ways. Either you can do it one by one, either you can do it one by one by entering hash in the beginning of the line, right? Or else you can select it all at once and click Control and forward slash, right? So this is how you can add a multi-line comments. Well, so in PyCharm, you saw, right, the shortcut Control plus forward slash. So this will add or remove hash at the beginning of those lines. Now there is another way which Python allows to create block line comments using triple quotes. So you can use 3 double quotes this at the beginning and 3 double quotes at the end. For example, let's say after these 3 quotes I want to write I am Ankit. Now what will happen if I print this? So it will only print this statement. These are non-executable because these are comments. Okay, so we have seen how we can write a single line comment, how we can write multiple line comments, and how using different using hash and triple inverted commas, triple double quotes. Okay. Now so the comment is done. Let us move to the next concept, that is keywords. Now what is a keyword in Python? Keywords are the special reserved words in Python. So keywords are the special reserved words in Python. So these are the words for which Python has already decided a meaning and purpose. Okay, you cannot use them for anything else like variable names. For example, okay, better we see it on our PyCharm directly. So let's say first of all we'll create another file, Python file. We'll name it as keywords. Okay, and let's say we want to see all the keywords available in Python. For that we'll simply type print and keyword dot kw list. Now if you click, if you run this, will it run? What do you think? Let's try. We are getting an error because it is asking to import the keyword. So before that we have to write another sentence, that is import keyword. Why? I am telling you. Now if you run it, you will get the list of all keywords available in Python. Now why we have entered this, why we added an extra line, import keyword? So when you run this, Python will display a list of keywords, right? You have noticed that this keyword print keyword dot kw list, here PyCharm automatically adds import keyword, but in our case I was not able to do that. That's why I have manually written this. So this kw list is actually a list variable inside the keyword module. It is a list variable inside a keyword module. So do not worry about modules and classes right now. These will be covered later in details when we talk about the oops concept. Okay, so now if you want to know how many keywords are there, you can't simply count it one by one, right? So if you want to print the number of keywords available here, what you have to do, you have to write print len keyword dot kw list. What it will do? It will print the number. Let me comment this here, because I want only to print this statement, right? Okay, I'm getting some error. Okay, this import keyword is required because we have used the same kw list class here. I'm uncommenting this. Now you can see there were total 35 keywords. If you count one by one, you will get 35 keywords here. Okay. Well, now let me try with another example. You saw, right, there was a keyword called as for, for. I'll show you again. So here you can see for, this one. Let's say I want to use this as a variable. For is equal to 10. Here I want for to act as a variable and 10 for this variable's value. 10 is the value for this variable and 4 is the variable. And after that I want to print four. Do you think it is going to print us the value, this value of 4, which is 10? No, because 4 is a keyword, and here comes the important rule. Keywords cannot be used as a variable name. Keywords cannot be used as a variable name. I will run it for you guys. You will get error, invalid syntax. Instead we can use another variable like x, or if you want to use for, then just rename it with something else like for value. Here also for value. Now run it, you will get the value 10, right? So we saw keywords cannot be used as variable names. Now so this was all about the keywords. We'll keep using these things, I mean some of these keywords in upcoming programs, so you will get more comfortable with them over time. Okay, let's move to our next concept, that is data type. So let me create a file, another Python file. I will name it as Datatypes. Okay, let me update the nodes as well. Okay, so what is a data type in Python? Data type tells Python what kind of value is stored in a variable. So data types tells Python what kind of value is stored in a Python. There are different types of data types available in Python. Some of the common data types are, one second. So some of the common data types available in Python are text type, we call it as string; numeric or integer type, which we call it as int, which stands for integer; and float. Basically this is a decimal numbers. We have another name for decimal numbers, that is float. Boolean type, which is Boolean, I mean either true or false, those kind of things we call it as a Boolean type. Then we have list, tuple, dictionary, set. Okay, so these are different types of data types available in Python. Let us understand this with a simple example. So we have already created a file, data types. Here we are going to see with example 1. Let's say x is equal to 10. As I said earlier, x is the variable, 10 is the value assigned to this variable. Now what is a data type? Can you tell me what is the data type of this? It is clearly visible that this is a number, which is a integer, right? We don't have any decimal point here, that's why it's not a float, it's a integer. Now we want to print the value of x. Let's say print x. Sorry, x. It is printing the value, which is 10, right? Now okay, now let me tell you important point about Python. Python is a dynamically typed programming language. What does this mean, dynamically typed programming language? Python is a dynamically typed programming language. This means you do not need to specify the data type of the variable when you declare it. So here Python automatically understands the type from the value you assign. This makes coding in Python very simple and flexible. So here in our case, even if you don't tell the Python that this is an integer, it will automatically understand this is integer. That's why it is called as dynamically typed programming language. Now you want, for example, you want to print what is this data type of the variable x. How we are going to do that? Now let's see, okay, I will explain you here itself. X is equal to 10, print x. Now I want to know the type of data type of the variable x. We don't need to do anything, it's simple, just type type, type, put this inside a bracket and run it. You will see it is showing as a class integer, right? So 10 is an integer. Now now let's try with different types of data types. Let's say we have another variable called as y. We'll assign some float values in it, 10.5. This is a float value. Let's say we have another variable called as z, and we will assign some string value inside this. Okay. Now here y is a float value because it has a decimal point and z is a string. So notice that you can define a string either using single quotes or double quotes. Now for a while I will do one thing, I will mark it as comment, I mean I will comment this out, I will try to print. Now if I click on this run, what do you think, what is going to happen? At first it will print this the type of x, which is integer, similar to this, then it is not going to print anything, right? Because we have not added any another print statement. Now let's try adding the print statement for y and for z. Now again run it, it will print the value. Now to get the type of it, as I said, simply type type before it, close with the bracket. Yeah, now run it. Now you should get the type of x, type of y, type of data type of z, which is class int, class float, class string, str for string. So int, float and string. As I said, either you can define the value, string value, in single quote or double quote. So what I'll do is I'll comment this out and I'll uncomment this. Now if I print this double quoted string value for its type, we'll get, okay, we are getting some error as that string value. Well, maybe, okay, got the answer. We don't need to add space here. If you add space, you will not get the value, you will get an error. So do not add any space in the beginning. So you saw, right, how how you can define a string using single and double quoted both. So you saw how we can see the type of each variables, right? Now let us try printing values with messages. This is example 3. Printing values with messages. Let's say we have a variable x and we are going to store a string inside this as Ankit, which is my name. Next we are going to print it. Earlier what we used to do, we used to simply print x here and we used to get the value or whichever whatever the value is assigned to this variable x. Now as I said, printing values with messages means I'll add some messages in the beginning. Let's say my name is, you have to give a colon here, then a comma, then what you are going to print here, you have to specify it. I'm going to print the variable x, which is Ankit, right? Now all the above examples I'll comment it. If I run, what will happen? It will print my name is Ankit, right? Okay. Now let's say, okay, let us try with another example. Reassigning another value to the same variable. Okay. Now let's say again we will be using the same example, Ankit. Let me comment this. Now if I print x simply, it will give me the output Ankit, right? Let's say I'm again defining the variable x as, let's say, Anita. Now what will the output? What do you think? We are going to get any error? Is it going to print Ankit or is it going to print Anita? Let me run and see. Well, it is printing Anita because see, first x was Ankit, then x is reassigned to Anita. So in Python, the last assigned value is stored in the variable. So when we print, the output will be always the lastly assigned variable values. So remember, in Python, if you assign a new value to the same variable, the old value is replaced. Let me add this point in our notes. Okay. Cool. So this is perfectly fine now. Now let us try another example. In this example, we are going to see how can we assign multiple values in one line. Multiple values in one line. Okay. Let's say we have three variables a, b and c. A we are assigning 10, b we are assigning 20 and C as 30. Okay, now we have 3 variables and 3 values for each variable. I mean each has 1 values, right? Earlier how we used to do, we used to, suppose we want to print the value for each of the variables. How we used to do it? We used to print 1 by 1, print A, print B and print C. How it will be printing? 10, 10, 20 and 30, ABC, right? This works, but it takes 6 lines. So 3 lines for assignment and 3 lines for printing. You know, we can do the same in a shorter way, assigning values in a single line and printing them in a single line. How? Let's see. First of all, I'll comment this out. I've already shown you guys. Now let's say they are again the same value I will be taking A. So to define the variables, what we are going to do is we will use comma separating each variable name, A, comma B, comma C, and then assigning the values again with comma 10, 20, comma 20, comma 30. Now for printing it using a single line, using a single print statement, the same way, print A, comma B, comma C. So you saw, right, it was taking 6 lines, now it is taking only 2 lines. Let me run it. 10, 20 and 30, correct? So here A will get 10, B will get 20 and C will get 30, and the print statement will print all 3 values separated by spaces. Now let us see another example again. Let's say A, comma B, comma C is equal to 10, 20 and the third value I want a string, let's say welcome, and print A, comma B, comma C. Now if you print run it, it will print the string along with the integer values. Okay, here A is integer, B is integer, C is a string welcome. So Python allows different types in this kind of assignment. Now let me try with another example. Let's say the value of A is 100, B is 200 and C is, sorry, let us keep all the 3 variables values same. Okay, now we can also assign the same value to multiple variables in a single line. How? I'll tell you. A is equal to B is equal to C is equal to 100, all 3 variables same value. Now we'll print A, comma B, comma C. Let us run this. Yeah, 10, oh sorry, 100, 100 and 100, all 3 variables same value. Okay, so this is done. Now okay, we have almost covered all the examples here. Okay, one concept is there which we call as type conversion in data types. Type conversion in data types. Okay, so what does this type conversion means? So type conversion means converting the data type of a value from one type to another. Okay, How? Let us see this with an example. Let us say x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20. Now what do you think? If we print x plus y, that is 10 plus 20, are we going to get the output as 30? Think once. Let us run and see. No, we are getting some error, type error. What is saying? What is saying? That unsupported operand types for int and string. So as I said, double coded, it will consider it as string. So we can't add a string to an integer in this way. Now this gave an error. Why? Because x is an integer and y is a string. So Python does not automatically adds a number and a string. So to fix this, we can do one thing. We can convert this y from string to an integer using int function. Let us see how. What we are going to do is, we'll simply type int y. What it will do? It will convert the type of y variable, which was string, into an integer. Now let's run. Now it is giving us the value, right? Result is 30. Okay. Now let's see some let us play with boolean values. You know, sometimes boolean can behave like numbers. Let us see how. So let us name it as boolean behaving like numbers. So in Python, booleans also behave like numbers internally. If we write print true, wait guys, I think I missed the most important part here, the data types. I didn't show you guys the other data types. I showed only the type int. Well, there are multiple data types, as I said, but I forgot to mention. My bad. Let me uncomment this first. Okay, here you saw x is equal to 10. Let us create another variable and assign the value 20.56. Next is z, which is z. Till here you guys have seen. Next is a, true, right? Now if we print why I am typing again, I can simply copy and paste it. Just replace the variable. And if you run it, b is not defined. Okay, we have used x, y, z and a. So true is a boolean. So in boolean only two values come, that is true and false. So this I wanted to show you guys. Okay, As of now, I will comment it out. Okay, so what I was saying, so we are seeing how boolean can behave like numbers in Python. So let us say we print true plus true. So always remember, in Python true is equal to 1 and false is equal to 0. Okay, so as I said, true is 1 and false is equal to 0. So what do you think, what will be the value now? What will be the output? True is 1, 1 plus true 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. So the value will be, output will be 2. Okay, similarly print false plus true. False is 0, true is 1. 0 plus 1 is always 1. You got 1. Then false plus false, 0 plus 0, which is always 0, right? Now we saw how boolean behaving like numbers, right? Let us try another example. That is, we'll see how we can swap the numbers. Let me comment this part. So consider two variables x and y. X is having value 1, y is having value 2. Now if you print x comma y, x comma y, it will print x and y, 1 2, right? It will print 1 2. Okay, let's say I will just change the position y and x. So what do you think, what will it will print? Here also it will print its own value, y is 2 and x is 1, that is 2 and 1, 2 and 1. But it is not changing the value stored in x and y, right? So if we want to really swap the values so that x becomes 2 and y becomes 1, in Python we can do it in a very simple way. How? First give y comma separated x is equal to x comma y. Now you print x comma y. X was 1, y was 2. Here you have swapped it. Now you are printing x comma y. What it should print? It should print x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 1. Right? So what is happening here? I mean, x is printing 2, y is printing 1. Here Python is swapping the values in one line without needing a temporary variable. So this is how you can swap the numbers between two variables. Fine. Okay, let us also see one more example, which is basically a simple one, that is delete. Let's say x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. Now I want there is another print statement, x plus y. The value should be 3, 2 plus 1. But before that, I'll give delete x. Okay, what it will do? Let us try by printing it. It says x name is not defined because we have deleted it, right? This will help you in debugging the codes when it comes to, when we'll start writing the test scripts. At that time we will see if we find any error, it will help us to debug it. It will help us to understand where the error is actually. Okay, so now let us see another concept, which is operators in Python. Let me create another file. Operators. So what are operators? An operator is a symbol that performs an operations on one or more values or variables. So an operator is a symbol that performs an operation on one or more values or variables. Let us try to understand this with an example. Let's say A is equal to 100, B is equal to 200. Print A plus B. What it is doing? It is adding these two variables. Basically, it is performing some operation. Which operation? Addition operation. And that's why this plus symbol, we can call it as an operator. And it comes under arithmetic operator. So similarly, in Python we have arithmetic operators, relational operators, and logical operators. In Python we have arithmetic operators, basically the mathematical functions which we do, plus, minus, multiplication, divisions, all this. Then we have relational, which is basically a comparison operators to compare the values. Logical operators, which is also used to compare the values. Let us see one by one. So we saw the arithmetic, right? Let me define all the other here. Now what I'm going to do is, let me take the value. This is 200 and this one is 100. Okay, so if you print, you will get 300 here, right? Next is subtraction, A minus B. Similarly, print A divided by B. Print A multiply, we use that star symbol. Okay, so if you want to multiply two variables, use a star symbol in between them. A star B. Now let's run this. Well, A plus B, which is 200 plus 100, 300, correct? A minus B, 200 minus 100, which is 100, correct? Next, A divided by B, 200 divided by 100 is 2, right? A multiplied by B, 200 into 100 is 20,000, correct? Okay. Now what we are going to do is, we will store this summation, subtractions, division, and multiplication in a small variable. We'll name it as, let's say, for addition we are going to name it as add. Let us make this simple, no need to make it complex one. A plus B, subtraction as E minus B, division as A divided by B, multiplication as A star B. Okay, and we are going to use a single print statement to print all this just by the values. Add sub div mul, right, the same name which we have used here. Now let's run this. It is printing the same value, right? It is doing its operation, arithmetical operations, and printing the values. Now, okay, this was one of the example. Let us try understanding this division in more better way. Okay, so here we need to understand the difference between three types of division. One is print A slash B, which we already saw above. Next is print A double forward slash with B, and the third one is A percentage B. This we call it as normal division. Okay, this one we call it as floor division, and this we call it as remainder or the modulus operator. Okay, so okay, let me note this down on the notes. So let us try to understand each one of this with an example. Let's see, A is equal to 7, B is equal to 2. So when you use the normal division, what should be the output? The output will be 3.5 up to the decimal point. Okay, so this gives the exact result of division including the decimal point. Now another example with the print statement for the floor division, A double forward slash B. Now I'll comment this out. Now I want to print A double forward slash B. What should be the output? It is giving me 3. Why 3? Because floor division gives only the whole number part of the result. Okay, it ignores the decimal point. In the beginning we saw this one was giving the decimal as well, 3.5, but this floor division always ignores the decimal part. That's why it is giving only the first integer, that is 3. It is ignoring 0.5. Next, let us see what is modulus operator. We print A percentage B. Okay, it is giving me 1. So the modulus operator will always give the remainder after the division. 7 divided by 2 is 3 with a remainder 1. So, the result is 1. Yeah, so I guess you guys have cleared with these 3 types of division methods, right? Let us see another example for exponent, or which you also called as power. We'll use the same values and variables a7 b2, and if we simply give a star b, it will print 7 into 2, 7 multiplied by 2, which is 14. Okay, but to use the exponent operator, that means we want to give 7 to the power 2. What we are going to do is we'll add one extra star here. Now it will print 7 to the power 2, 7 exponent 2, that is 7 into 7, 7 multiplied by 7, 49. Here it is, right? So a double star b will always calculate a raised to the power b. Okay, so these are the arithmetic operators in Python. Now let us see some of the examples of relational operator. I will comment it out. Okay, now there are different types of relational operators. For example, greater than, less than, greater than is equal to, less than is equal to, then not is equal to. Okay, so we are going to see this with examples. And remember, relational operators always return a boolean value, which is either true or false. There was one more operator forward, that is double is equal to. Okay, so relational operators always return a boolean value, that is true or false. Now let us say a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 10. Now if we want to print using the relational operators, let's say a is greater than b. So what do you think? What will the value? Here says a, which is 5, greater than b, 10. Is 5 greater than 10? No, right? And as I said, it will always return a boolean value, true or false. In our case, 5 is not greater than 10, it will return false. False. Okay. Similarly, let us try another type of relational operators, which is less than b. Sorry, yeah, less than b. Print a is equal to b. Print a not is equal to b. Print a less than is equal to b. Print a greater than is equal to b. Now in this case it was obvious that it will print false. Here what should it print? It should print a is less than b. 5 is less than 10, yes, true. Next is a is equal to b. Is 5 is equal to 10? No, right? False. A is not is equal to b. A is not is equal to b, which is true, right? Next is a is less than is equal to b. Is a is less than? Here are two conditions. One is less than, one is equal to. A is less than b, true. A is equal to b, false. But either any of the values should be true. This is true, right? That's why it will print true. Here a is greater than b, no. A is equal to b, no. Both the conditions fail. Now let's run and check whether our values are correct or not. False, true, false, true, true, and false, right? So each of these lines will check the relationship between a and b and return the boolean type, that is true or false. Now let's jump to logical operators. Now logical operators in Python, there are only three: and, or, and not. So these are the keywords, okay? Consider these as the keywords. These are not the symbols. That means in, not like Python. In Python, how we used to use? We used to not like Java. In Java, we used to instead of this word, we used to use the symbols for and, double and, like this, right? For or, we used to use for not, we used to use this one, but not in Python. In Python, a simple word is enough. That's why I said in the beginning, Python is a very easy language to understand and to learn both. Now, just like relational operators, these logical operators also return boolean values, true and false. Just like relational operators, these logical operators also return boolean values, true or false. Now, to understand these logical operators in detail, you can also think of a truth table. Okay, let me show you this in an Excel sheet. Let's say we have a column here. One second. A, here we have B, here we have A and B, A or B, not A, not B. Okay. Okay, and there will be different sets of combination between true and false. First is true, true, then true and false, sorry, okay, then false and false, then last one is false and true. Let us do one thing. better to make it false in the end one, so that it will be easy to understand. Okay, so now okay, let me write something here. True is always is 1, as I said earlier. False is always is equal to 0. Okay, now when we say AND, this AND, consider it as always multiplication. When I say OR, consider it as add, and not is obviously will be 9, right? Not A means not A, opposite of A. Okay, so as I have defined this, when true and true, A and B, A and means multiply, true means 1, 1 multiplied by 1 is always 1, that's why it will be true. Okay, next is true multiplied by true, A and B, right? We are doing this one. So true multiplied by false, 1 multiplied by 0, 1 multiplied by 0 is always 0, that is false. Next is false 0 multiplied by 1, which is also 0, false. Next 0 0, obviously 0. Got it? Next, let's see A or B. OR means addition. So A or B, 1 plus 1, consider it as always 1. You don't need to go in a true manner that 1 plus 1 is 2, so it should print as 2. No, we are seeing the boolean values, so stick to boolean values, don't get to integer. Next is true or false, A or B, right? True or false, that is 1 plus 0 is always 1, true. Then we have 0 plus 1, which is always 1, true. 0 plus 0, always 0, false. Now what is not A? Not A means we have A here. Not A means opposite of A, right? Not B means opposite of B. Not A. True opposite of true is false. Here opposite of true is false. Next, opposite of false is true. Opposite of false is true. Now again same for the B. Not B means not true. Opposite of true, false. Opposite of false is true. Opposite of true is false. Opposite of false is true. Understood? Okay, so this was the rule, and you guys need to keep this in mind because this is very important. I'll do one thing, I'll make this as bold, this is bold, these are the values. I'll take a screenshot and paste it here, so never forget this rule. Okay, now let us try to understand this with more with the examples. Okay, let us say A is equal to true, B is equal to false, and okay, one more thing guys, in Python, this is very important, in Python true and false are always case sensitive. Let's say if I print A here, do you think it will print the value? I mean it will print true? No, it will say true is not defined, because Python understand always true as the first letter should be in caps. Similarly for false, now if you print, it will print the value for a, print a, that is true, right? Okay, so let me put it here. In Python, true and false are case sensitive. Okay, now I want to print A and B. Similarly, print A or B. Print not A. Print not B. So you remember this chart, right? So this chart is nothing but the output. If I run this, I'll get A and B. A and B, true. So here we have defined true as A and B as false, right? That's why A and B is always, and means, as I said, multiplication. 1 into 0 is always 0. That's why it is giving me false. A or B, or is always addition. So A is true, 1 plus 0, false is 0, 1 plus 0 is 1, that's why true. Similarly, not A means not true, which is false, and not B is not false, which is true. Got it? So here we saw, right, how A and B will be true only if both A and B are true, otherwise false. A or B will be true if at least one of them is true. Not A will reverse the boolean value of A, not B will reverse the boolean value of B. So this was all about the operators in Python, which is arithmetic, which we saw this one, then relational, then logical. Okay, now let us see another concept, which is concatenation. Well, so what does concatenation means? Concatenation in simple English, it means joining. So it could be joining variables, values, strings, etc. So whenever you join things together, we call it concatenation. Okay, let us try to understand with an example. So in Python, we use the plus operator for concatenation. Normally we think the plus means addition, right? And this is correct for numbers, but with strings, plus is also used for joining. Let us see the difference. Now let us see, we want to print 10 plus 10. What the output will be? It will be 20. It will add it, right? Here this plus is behaving as a arithmetic operator, addition. Next, print, let's say 10.5 plus 12.0. Here what it should give? It should give output as 22.5, which is a float. Okay, similarly print 10 plus 10.5, which will give us the output as 20.5. okay, perfectly fine here. So till here everyone understood, right? This is a normal addition operation. right? Now all of these are valid and it will perform the arithmetic addition. So when this plus, so when this plus sign is between two integers, it will add them. Now what if we use plus between the strings? Let's say print welcome, here I am using plus, to SDET nest. Now is it going to do any addition operation here? No, these are strings, so it will add these two strings and make it one. Welcome to SDET. See here I haven't, here space is not there, right? Because we didn't apply space here. Now if you run, we'll get space. Okay, here plus is concatenating the two strings, joining them together into one longer string, right? Now an interesting combination with booleans and numbers are, let's say print 2 plus 5. What do you think? What will be the output? If you remember, I said true is always 1 and false is always is equal to 0 in Python, right? So true is 1, 1 plus 5, so it give us 6, correct? Now similarly print false plus 5, false is always 0, 0 plus 5 is always 5, right? Now print true plus true. What should you get? 1 plus 1, which is 2, correct? So these are, these are the valid combinations. Now let's say you want to print a integer along with a string. So do you think it is going to print any output? Let us try. Well, it is throwing error. It's saying unsupported operand type int and string together. Let us try with a boolean value. .5 plus welcome. Let us run. Well, no, here also it is throwing error, because with float we can't concatenate string directly. Now the next example is, let's try boolean with string. Nope, it is not giving. This 2 is the last value we printed for true plus true. After that everything is error. So we can say that these are invalid in Python. Okay, sorry. Okay. The reason is very simple. Here one value is number, right? Int, float and boolean, and the other is a string. So Python does not know how to add a number and a string together. So read these lines. Numbers are special among themselves. You saw, right? You can add integer with an integer. You can add integer with a float. You can add boolean with integer or float, but you cannot add a string with any numeric type directly. Okay. So we need to remember that a plus operator or concatenation between numbers perform arithmetic addition. A plus between string performs concatenations, which is a joining, but you cannot mix string with number using plus. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, let us see one more thing, one more concept, which we call it as formatting the output. Formatting output. Now, formatting output is nothing but it is to format the output in a better way. Imagine we have a name as Anita. Okay, age of this person is 30 and salary is 60,000. Let us make this as a float, 60,000.50. Okay, now if we simply okay, so I'm going to give print name similarly age and salary. So if you write this print statement, it will print in each line. This we have already covered before, but again there is something different. I'm going to explain in the upcoming examples, so clearly understand this. Okay, next is age, then salary. So it is printing in 3 different lines. Now the same thing, if we want to print in one single line, we'll go with 3 different approaches. Okay, let's say approach 1. So we can assign all this value in one single line and we can print all this value in one single line, that is name, age, salary is equal to, I have some problem with my keyboard when it automatically presses, it automatically catches this control. I don't know how. Every time I have to click hard on this control button to stop it. Okay, name as salary. See again it. Anita, then age, then salary. 60,000 dot 50, and in one single line the print statement as well. Name, comma, age, comma, salary. Okay, we'll comment this and we'll try to run the file. You can see in one single line it is printing, right? We already saw this. Okay, there is some another approach. Let's say approach number 2. Okay, so in approach 2, what we can do is we will let's say we want to print each value with a label. Label means text in front of the output. Let's see, this was our initialization, assigning the values to the variables. Now we'll use print within a single inverted comma. We'll write our label, that is name is, and we'll close it with a comma and then the variable name. Similarly for the other two. Age is, salary is. Now let's try to print this. Name is Anita, age is Anita. Oh, sorry. Well, I haven't changed the variable name here. I forgot to do that. Salary, yeah. Now if you run, name is Anita, age is 30, salary is 60.5. Correct? This was approach 2. Now we'll see approach number 3. The third approach. Well, so in our third approach, what we are going to do is we will combine these in one print statement and in one single line using some of the special characters. Let's see. So I'll pick the same variable and value. Okay, now here what I'm going to do is print within double inverted comma. I'll give its name is colon, then percentage d. Remember guys, percentage d is always, sorry, percentage s is always used for a string. Next we have age. Age is colon percentage d. Percentage d is always for integer, a number. Okay, next is salary is colon percentage g. Percentage g is always for a float numbers with a decimal point. Okay, following with percentage and the variable names, age, salary, closing it, closing the bracket. Fine. Okay. Now as I said, remember percentage. Okay, I'll make a note for this. Here are the 3 points. Percentage is used for a string, for a name. Is percentage d is used for an integer, and percentage is for float or general. Percentage g is for float or general number. Okay, now let's try to print this. Well, it is giving me an error. It is saying unmatched bracket. So I think I have used some additional bracket here. Is it? No. Well, salary. Oh, okay, sorry. This inverted comma is not required here. In fact, it is required here. because we are closing it here. We are defining the variable name here. Fine. Now let's see. Name is Anita, age is 30, salary is 16. So this is how we format the output. Earlier we saw, right, we were printing in a single line, then we came to in one single print, using one single print statement and assigning the variables in one single line. Then we saw in approach 2 how we can use it a label to define what we are printing. Then in the approach 3 we saw using some of the special characters like percentage s for integer, percentage s for string, percentage d for an integer value, and percentage g for a float value. How we can print it in one single line. Fine. So guys, that's all for the today's session. In the next video we'll move forward with more Python concepts like control statements, loops, numbers, strings, and much more. Till then, keep revising these topics, practice them in PyCharm. Okay, and if you face any doubts, you can mail or comment me again on the same mail ID as I have told you in my previous video. This is my mail ID. You can reach out to me here. So you can mail or comment on this video. Fine. So see you guys in the next video. Signing off. Thank you.